Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever thought about what's lurking deep beneath our feet? I'm not talking about subway tunnels or ancient ruins. I'm talking about something far more powerful, something with the potential to reshape our world in a matter of days. Today, we're diving deep into the Earth's crust to uncover the secrets of supervolcanoes. Are we living on a geological time bomb? Let's find out. First, what exactly is a supervolcano? Forget the image of a classic, cone-shaped mountain. Supervolcanoes are so massive they don't even look like volcanoes. They often appear as giant, sunken craters called calderas, sometimes stretching for dozens of miles. These aren't your average eruptions either. To be classified as a supereruption, a volcano must eject more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of material. To put that into perspective, that's enough ash and rock to bury an entire state under a thick blanket. The 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens was devastating, but a supereruption would be thousands of times larger. One of the most famous and well-studied supervolcanoes is right here in the United States, the Yellowstone caldera. Located in Yellowstone National Park, this geological giant is responsible for the park's famous geysers and hot springs. The heat powering Old Faithful is coming from a massive magma chamber simmering just a few miles below the surface. Yellowstone has had 3 major supereruptions in its history, one about 2.1 million years ago, another 1.3 million years ago, and the most recent one about 640,000 years ago. Looking at that pattern, some people get worried. Are we overdue for another one? Well, let's look at the science. Geologists are constantly monitoring Yellowstone. They use a network of seismometers to detect earthquakes, GPS stations to measure ground deformation, and sensors to analyze gas emissions. Tiny earthquakes or swarms are common in Yellowstone, as is the ground rising and falling by a few inches each year. This is all normal behavior for a living, breathing volcanic system. Scientists at the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory say there are currently no signs of an impending eruption. The probability of a Yellowstone supereruption in any given year is about 1 in 730,000. So, you're far more likely to be struck by lightning. But what if? What would happen if a supervolcano like Yellowstone did erupt? The consequences would be catastrophic and global. The initial blast would be devastating for hundreds of miles, obliterating everything in its path. But the real long-term danger comes from the ash. A colossal plume of volcanic ash, gas, and rock would be shot high into the stratosphere, where it could travel around the globe. This ash cloud would block out sunlight, triggering a volcanic winter. Global temperatures could drop significantly, leading to widespread crop failure and famine. Air travel would be grounded indefinitely, supply chains would collapse, and our modern way of life would be thrown into chaos. It's a terrifying scenario, and it's happened before in Earth's history. The Toba supereruption in Indonesia, about 74,000 years ago, was one of the largest explosive eruptions known. It was so massive that some scientists believe it pushed the early human population to the brink of extinction. The eruption plunged the planet into a volcanic winter that may have lasted for years, drastically altering the climate and ecosystems worldwide. We see the evidence of this event in ice cores from Greenland and geological layers across Asia. Toba serves as a stark reminder of the planet-altering power these volcanoes possess. It's not just a theoretical threat, it's a part of our planet's natural cycle. And Yellowstone isn't the only one. There are other supervolcanoes scattered around the globe. For example, the Phlegraean Fields, or Campi Flegrei in Italy, is a large caldera located just west of Naples, a densely populated city. This area has been showing signs of unrest for decades, with the ground rising and falling, and increased seismic activity. While a full-blown supereruption is considered unlikely in the near future, even a smaller eruption could have devastating consequences for the millions of people living nearby. Other notable sites include Lake Taupo in New Zealand and Long Valley Caldera in California. Each of these sites is carefully monitored by scientists, who are working tirelessly to understand the risks. So how do scientists know when an eruption might be coming? They look for a combination of warning signs. One of the most important is ground deformation. As magma moves and accumulates beneath the surface, It can cause the ground above to swell like a balloon. This is measured with incredible precision using GPS and satellite radar. Another key indicator is an increase in the frequency and intensity of earthquakes. As magma pushes its way through the crust, it breaks rock, creating seismic waves. Finally, changes in the gases and temperature of hot springs and fumaroles can signal that magma is rising closer to the surface. If all these signs were to occur together and escalate rapidly, it would be a clear warning that an eruption could be imminent. But here's the reassuring part. A supereruption doesn't happen without warning. The geological processes involved are so immense that they would likely give us weeks, months, or even years of lead time. It wouldn't be a complete surprise. This would give authorities time to implement evacuation plans and prepare for the global impact. NASA has even explored some highly theoretical ideas for mitigating a supereruption, like drilling into the magma chamber to release heat and pressure, essentially letting the volcano exhale safely over thousands of years. However, these are just concepts for now, and the technology is a long way off. So to answer our original question, are we sleeping on a ticking time bomb? In a sense, yes. The potential for a supereruption is a real, albeit very low probability threat. These geological giants are a fundamental part of how our planet works. But it's not something to lose sleep over. The chances of it happening in our lifetime are incredibly slim. Thanks to dedicated scientists and advancing technology, we are more equipped than ever to monitor these sleeping giants and, hopefully, get a heads up if one of them starts to stir. The Earth is a dynamic and powerful place, and understanding these incredible forces is key to appreciating our home and our place within it. It is a reminder that we are just temporary guests on a planet with a long and explosive history. What do you think? Does the power of supervolcanoes fascinate you or terrify you? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into Earth's most powerful natural wonders. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more incredible science, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. See you in the next one.